Hello and welcome to Ventures. On the program today, we're going to be taking a look at a very important crop in the agribusiness sector, namely rice. We have a guest with us today who is going to be telling us the full value chain of rice from farm to table. He's going to be giving us some very valuable insights on this industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Selling your goods, products and services locally is good, but it can get better when you trade with other nations. With a strategy to diversify the productive base of the Nigerian economy away from oil, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is driving the Export for Survival initiative. Come on board. Let's take you through major non-oil products you can export and earn at international rates as we equip you with the required knowledge and skills for a successful export business. Export for Survival remains a viable option for economic growth and survival.
On Ventures today, we have Sadiq Kassim, Director, Group Corporate Affairs, Tropical General Investment, TGI. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to be going to the very first question, which is, how is agriculture faring in Nigeria so far?
What is the position of agriculture? I will not go into statistics because that would be left for experts and economists and those who number crunch. But we have to look at it from the perspective that, yes, the person who feeds us is agriculture and the Nigerian farmer. And when you look at, for instance, export earnings, apart from the oil that we say, substantially it is also from agricultural exports. And so where do we go? Over the years, Nigerian governments have consistently been creating policies and programs that would help support the agri sector for it to fulfill these objectives. The first objective is feeding us. The second objective is making us earn some foreign exchange. So I think we have our plans and our act cut out for us to now focus on what can the government, what can those of us who are practitioners do to achieve these twin objectives of food security and foreign exchange earnings.
Let's zero into rice, which has been a staple in Nigeria for a long time. And before now, there has been a struggle to get Nigerians involved in the production of rice just to even meet the demand locally. So what is going on in the rice farming industry?
Okay, this is also quite interesting and probably not well acknowledged. From the last government up to these times, we've seen a revolutionary change, so to say, in everything to do with rice. Nigeria has been a net importer of rice for years. Government has put attention how much in terms of foreign exchange drain that we spend, or money we spend to import rice. I think it started with the mantra of President Buhari saying, let us grow what we eat and eat what we grow. And subsequently, that drove all his policies and actions in that direction. Yeah. And specifically on rice, you would recall he flagged up the Anchor Borrowers Program. Whether we acknowledge the Anchor Borrowers Program as a right policy or it has been implemented correctly or not, one of the critical things that have to be acknowledged, and there's nobody who should, it can't be controverted, is the fact that, yes, Nigeria changed from being number 5 in rice production in Africa to the topmost in rice production. The thing is, yes, we still are not where we should be, because with 240 million Nigerians, with rice being a major staple on every table, the consumption is still growing as we go along. What I feel we need to do is to focus more on producing the paddy, the raw materials, with what, 90 million hectares of land available, probably 70 million of it is arable, and I guess maybe 40 million of it is also eligible or ready or available for production of rice. And with the fact that we also have the climate to be able to produce rice not just once but probably twice,
Okay.
then the sky should be our limit. We should be a net exporter of rice in the short term.
Okay, so but let's aggregate before now the ban on the importation of rice or importations, most of those things on the import ban list, the ban has been lifted. So is there any difference between when the ban was on and now that it has been lifted?
There is a correction. Rice was not banned,
Okay.
even in those days.
Okay.
There is a fiscal policy, and then later a monetary policy, and then maybe the government decision to close the border. The borders have been opened, yes. The fiscal policy still remains, and the monetary policy has been suspended. So if you're talking about the central bank restriction on foreign exchange to import rice, yes, it's been lifted. But then, I don't think even in the past it has ever stopped anything. If you really want to import rice, you can go ahead and do it. And I think as somebody who has played in this sector in the last several years, I don't believe that we would fail if you want to allow importation of rice. First of all, today, where is the foreign exchange for you to go and buy to import rice? Second, where are you going to buy it? India, Thailand, or where? They all have restrictions on food exports in their own countries. They all have new fiscal regimes that are going to add taxes to it. So by the time you bring it to Nigeria at whatever time you want to bring it, I feel as a producer in this country, I'm also equally competitive. Yes, because of our scarcity in paddy production, rice today is more expensive than anticipated. Not too long ago, I was discussing with a few people in government, and I keep saying, and this is something I believe in, I would rather pay the Nigerian farmer a very high price to buy his paddy, produce rice in Nigeria and sell it expensive, than pay the Indian farmer a cheaper price using my hard-earned currency and support him,
Yes.
and then bring it and again further subsidize it and sell it cheap in Nigeria, because then I am creating more employment in India, giving them foreign exchange, and then impoverishing my Nigerian colleague here.
Yes.
So I prefer to pay him more so he earns, and then we can all turn the economy in and out. I mean, it's all within Nigeria. It's not going out anywhere.
Okay. So, but where are the biggest pitfalls now for the average Nigerian rice farmer?
Well, the biggest is our mindset that agriculture is a poor man's business. And this has been proven wrong. Today, go to any rice growing area, you will find the most prosperous amongst them farmers are the rice farmers. Second is the fact that yes, our research institutes in Nigeria have not lived up to expectation in creating and producing more rice varieties. The current rice varieties we produce are probably 20 years old, maybe more than that. We need to keep developing the varieties, improving them so that our productive capacity, our productivity improves. 3 is the lack of infrastructure. This also, I say with all sense of responsibility, we have a lot of idle capacity in irrigation that needs to be rehabilitated. But then every year, every budget cycle, there is money voted for rehabilitating irrigation facilities that never gets to see the light of day. So we can't continue, we can't produce beyond maybe one crop, or at best a second crop.
What can we do to tell the youth of today, since you say the mindset? So how are we going to change this mindset and point them to the fact that agriculture has money in it? But is it an issue of long term, because everybody wants it quick money? What are the issues, and how can they be mitigated?
I agree, yes, it might be an issue of quick money, but then if you produce paddy over a period of 100 days on the first instance and another 100 days in the second instance, and you make 2 million naira profit, and I'm putting the numbers right now, you make 2 million naira profit, which is the minimum. As a graduate today, you have come out and you're unemployed, you're searching for a job, you have toiled all over the space looking for a job, a white-collar job that is not available. And this is a job that you will spend 200 days and you make 2 million naira. On average, how much will that be per month when you spread it over a year? It's actually more than the graduate salary if you are working in an office. Yeah. So it's not about how quick it brings in the return, it's just about the mindset. I think we have not reached that level where necessity would force us back to it. If we get to that level, then we would definitely go back. In 2020, we all went back because there was COVID.
Yes.
That forced everybody. The world is moving every day.
Yes.
Are we moving along with it? Number 3 is the fact that, for instance, the infrastructure we have can be improved, can be utilized, and for me personally, there is no reason why government should keep spending money every year in a budget cycle to rehabilitate irrigation facilities that don't get rehabilitated. Why don't you concession them? Identify organizations, identify interested parties that you concession these irrigation facilities to, and charge them. Instead of even spending money, you probably make money. And once you do that, there is the incentive that they are going to use it to produce more, and we will get out of that. And then you can dedicate your effort in creating more to widen. Government has created an agency called NALDA, National Agricultural Land Development Authority. What is NALDA doing? Why can't NALDA clear land and develop land for agriculture? Because it is, that's its main mandate.
Yes.
What is it doing? Government has created the National Agricultural Development Fund. What is that fund meant for? Why wouldn't that fund come forward and maybe support organizations that are ready? And I'm not saying government should sell land to private sector individuals. No. Create a system where the people on that particular area own the process.
Okay.
They lease and pay. The reason why we have a problem in this issue of maybe the mindset,
yes,
is our penchant for entitlement. We always want a situation where this thing is given to us free.
Every state in Nigeria is endowed with mineral and non-mineral products required in the international market in commercial quantities. The One State, One Product initiative seeks to diversify the economy and boost exports. With the support of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, your goods and services will obtain the necessary certifications to sell in destinations across the world. What is more, you do not have to make the journey to distant ports. Connect with NEPC today and we will lead you to where you want to go. Export for survival, optimizing Nigeria's non-oil potentials.
Welcome back. So tell us about the farm to table processing that you're doing in Kebbi State.
Okay, when President Buhari flagged up the rice program in Kebbi in 2015, Nigeria as a country has very low processing capacity. Most of the processing is done at artisanal level in the village and local government areas. There are very few processors. So one of the decisions was to say, let us go into processing. And because the Nigerians are so attuned to eating top quality rice from the best processing facilities abroad. So our objective is, can we do the same, replicate the same processing facility in Nigeria? Because it's not about the color of the farmer in his country, it's not about the variety of the rice that he produces, it's more about the quality of processing, the effort you put in processing it. So we took that decision and decided to set up the Rolls-Royce of the processing facilities in Nigeria. And today that's what is happening. We started, and I dare say just last week, we invited the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security to our factory. The success story is that in 2017, when we started with 120,000 metric tons processing capacity, we got so much success and acclaim in the country that we took the initiative to double that capacity to 250,000 metric tons, and it's ready for commissioning. It's already doing test production. So we wanted the Honorable Minister to come and see that it's not a fluke. He should focus his attention on doing the production and leave the processing to those who are experts in it.
Okay.
And so we are doing it. We're making sure the rice mill we have is a state of the art. You can't find anything else like it in Africa in terms of size. In terms of technology, it's the top range. There are a lot of environmental things built in terms of water treatment and effluent treatment, in terms of dust and recycling of waste and so on. Yes. Everything is being done right, and believe me, the environment is also so serene. This is a rice mill that when you go, you would not feel like you are in a typical rice mill. We're setting up a 20-hectare land for reforestation, where we'll we'll grow trees, and we would have an orchard where staff can go there and relax also. And so this is going to be a new heaven in Arugungus, right in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. And based on the way the country is now, we are not afraid of any issues of insecurity and all of that. It's all of that has been factored in.
Okay. When you say insecurity, you're talking about the other security, not the food security.
We're talking
For
about
me, I'm talking about food
issues
security. You see, Nigeria is divided into many ecologies and into many political settings. Yes, there is a lot of insecurity in the country. Definitely, it's affecting agriculture, because it's affecting farmers' ability to go to the farms to do what they're good at. In Kebbi, we have not had that problem at least in the rice growing regions where we operate. We get 90% of our rice paddy from the area where we operate.
Okay.
But yes, insecurity is a problem.
We are talking about the success story in Kebbi. I don't want us to move away from that until we know the brand. Do you have a particular brand that it is called?
It's called Big Bull.
Okay. And then we just finished the rice frenzy season. How does that work? Do you build up to the end of the year when the demand for rice? I just want to, because we're talking farm to table. How does it work? That circle at the end of the year when it just peaks, the demand peaks.
Maybe there is a trade secret which I may not be able to tell you. But the one that is obvious and well known is the fact that the wet season crop usually comes out in October. Okay. And the frenzy, like you call it, happens in December. Yes. So there is no nothing, I mean, it's all seamless. Okay. You harvest, you buy, you stock up, you continue. But then for us, our rice mill works on a 24-hour, 12-month cycle. Okay. We do not stop because there is no paddy, because like I said, we are in the thick of the paddy area. And there is also something that is very interesting with in the case of Kebbi. Many years back, from 2018, and we've had cycles of flooding. The flooding that has affected productivity had also made us to rethink our strategy in terms of rice production, because it disrupts the output and it disrupts our production.
So what are the other agri-services that WACOT offers?
Okay, you see, like I told you, TGI is a conglomerate of very many companies, most of them operating different segments and value chains. In the group, we have WACOT Agrochemicals and Fertilizer Limited that provides all the agri-inputs that farmers need. In the group, we have other companies that are also processing other crops being produced in Nigeria. Also, the same way that we do the rice from the farm to the table, we also do that from the farm to the table on other value chains. So what happens is we replicate the successes. We learn the lessons, because in all of this, it's not like a rosy venture as I'm painting it. There were lessons learned, there were uphill and downhill things, there were losses and gains. It didn't start yesterday and today the profit is coming just seamlessly. We had to do it in a very consistent manner, that the group is interested first and foremost in how do we engage our stakeholders in all the things we do such that there is mutual benefit. If the farmer in Kebbi beats his chest and says, I've done it in rice, I then feel that satisfaction, because it's when he does it that I succeed.
All right. So are we looking at becoming rice exporters anytime soon?
I think if we put our act together, we will. It's going to be a short time. I recall in 2018, we looked at it and said by 2025, we should be self-sufficient and exporting. It happened in 2020 when we looked at ourselves and we never imported its grain, yet we survived COVID even with the lockdown. And 2021 to 2022, we were just recovering out of COVID. The Russia-Ukraine war in 2022 started, and again there was a total dislocation of logistics and other things globally that affected everybody, but we survived it also. We survived it. So I think when we go into such trials and such challenges, we come out stronger. So I still believe what is happening today is another challenge that would make us stronger. I feel fulfilled. I've spent the last 40 years of my life in looking at the rural areas and rural development, and I think I have contributed my quota. When I look at some of the successes I have been involved in, I smile and tell myself that I have something the children will look at and say, let's build on.
Selling your goods, products and services locally is good, but it can get better when you trade with other nations. With a strategy to diversify the productive base of the Nigerian economy away from oil, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is driving the Export for Survival initiative. Come on board. Let's take you through major non-oil products you can export and earn at international rates as we equip you with the required knowledge and skills for a successful export business. Export for Survival remains a viable option for economic growth and survival.
The program has been Ventures, and today we focused on rice, a staple food in Nigeria. We also looked at the success story from Kebbi State, namely from Wakot, producers of Big Bull. It has been quite an interesting and insightful one on the program Ventures. Do join us again same time next week as we celebrate enterprise on the program Ventures.